Joining me now is Brad Dacus with Pacific Justice Institute. He spoke at the rally today in Sacramento. I want to bring that speech to you, but first I want him to join us. Brad and I actually have been friends and worked together now for 30 years, since around the middle of 1990. We were 1995, I should say. I think we were introduced to each other, started working together thanks to Tom DeWeese with the American Policy Center. Brad joins us now. Hi, Brad. Thanks for being with us. Great to see you again.
Oh, it's great to be interviewed by you, Brannon. You do such great work for so long. It's always a pleasure to be on your program.
Thank you. Great to have you here. Boost my volume in my ear a little bit, guys, if you would. Brad, you did a great job speaking today at the event. We're going to play that speech of yours in a moment. You've been doing this an awfully long time, Brad. Have you ever seen a piece of legislation like what we're talking about tonight?
Yeah, no, I haven't. We at Pacific Justice Institute, we have 36 offices coast to coast, 6 here in California, 280 cases in active litigation. We've been helping thousands and thousands on different issues and dealing and challenging different bills. In all of my days, I have never seen this egregious of an assault on parental rights as this legislation is being proposed, AB495, here in the state legislature. Right now it's in the state Senate here in Sacramento, California. So it's very, very dangerous. It's outrageous. It lets a stranger, Brannon, lets a stranger who doesn't even know a child necessarily just print out a sheet of paper, sign it, and just go right on into the school and take the child. It could be in a public school, maybe a child even a private school, maybe even a homeschooler who's getting like piano lessons somewhere. They go right in, they can take the child, no background check. It is insane, absolutely insane, and it still has a very good chance of passing, and the governor Gavin Newsom signing into law.
And I want to make sure everybody understands tonight, this is not just a California issue, is it?
Oh, no. In fact, if this passes, what we're looking at is actually a good chance of other states, starting with blue states, adopting something like this. It's under the guise of, helping children from parents who are being deported. Well, even if that was the case, first off, it's so broad it applies to every parent. But even if that was the case, it would still be inhumane, because it would deny parents the rights who are being deported to keep their kids. Instead, it makes it easy for strangers to rip away children from families, moms and dads that are being deported. So it makes absolutely no sense at all. There's no checks and balances at all in this legislation. And every family with children in California are at risk. And if this becomes law, and if Governor Gavin Newsom, for whatever reason, if he ends up being president someday and after 2028, we could see him pushing this federally down the throats of parents all throughout the United States of America. It'd be catastrophic.
But what about even if other states don't adopt the legislation and copy it? Can't someone in another state just simply grab a child, bring them to California as a sanctuary state related to abortion or LGBTQ, sign that one document, and boom? So in other words, won't this make legal kidnapping of children and bringing them to California and getting protection of the full power of the government of California a reality?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. So right now, existing law allows someone from California to kidnap a child in another state like Dallas, Texas, or St. Louis, Missouri, and rip that child. And if they get that child in California without being caught by police in other states, then they're off the hook. The existing law says you can kidnap a child, not be prosecuted, and the state will ignore any order from a judge in another state to return the children. And this is if the reason you took the child was to help them distort their bodies, gender distortion. It's sick, very evil, very sick.
Or abortion pills, right?
Yes, but this bill says, you know what? It doesn't have to be for gender distortion or abortion. You know what? It can be just to care for the child, and as long as you sign the affidavit, you can take that child, and you're going to allege that you couldn't get a hold of the parents. That's it. There's no background checks, no calling the police required. It's hideous. It's horrific. And that's why we at Pacific Justice Institute are standing strong against it, because we are a major defender of parental rights all throughout the country.
What percentage did it pass, the numbers in the House there in California?
I don't have the exact numbers, but I can say it wasn't close. The party in control has a solid, strong majority in both the House and the Senate of California, the Assembly and the Senate. So it's already passed there. Right now it's in the state Senate. We're going to have to see if it makes it through there. And if it does, Governor Gavin Newsom already said he's going to sign it. I like to think he has enough political common sense to know that if he signs this, he's asking parents all throughout America to oppose him when he runs for president in 2028.
Well, and then in the Senate, you have every reason to believe it'll pass in the Senate in California?
Yeah, it has a very good chance of passing in the state Senate. But you know what? There were thousands of people, thousands of moms and dads here at the state capitol, more than I've ever seen, I think, in my lifetime. So hopefully if the governor peeks out the window and the senators peek out the window, maybe they'll change their mind. That's our hope.
Jack Hibbs, has openly said to his congregation, if this passes, you guys with children have to leave the state. I mean, can you think about that? You know how serious he's taking this if he's talking about asking his own congregation to leave the state. You don't spend years building up a church and then say that unless you're dead serious. So he clearly is urging his people to get out if this becomes law.
Yeah, he's never said anything like this before, but he understands the threat of it. And he's been very effective in mobilizing so many people to come here to the state capitol. And mind you, this was not based on hype. This is based on fact. Our attorneys have scrutinized this bill. And what I'm saying is what it is exactly what it is. And it's very, very dangerous. And how can any parent want to have their children in a state or a country where their child can be just taken from them by a random person and they don't get them back? If you were in another country, if I was in another country with my kids, I would leave that country immediately if they passed something like this. So in a way, it's very rational and very reasonable for Pastor Jack Hibbs to make such a suggestion for those who have children who are vulnerable to being seized by human traffickers, pedophiles, estranged spouses, you name it.
I had a documentary that came out in 2018 called Sabotage. And then one came out in 2020 called Siege. And the one in 2020, I used the word Civil War, comma, World War III, comma, and, mentioned the various things that we were going to talk about. Some people were like, do you really want to use the word Civil War? That was in 2020. And I said, yeah, because when you have states refusing to obey the laws, and you have them becoming sanctuary cities, breaking the law, what else are you going to call this? And I think we already are in some form of a civil war. I know Daniel Greenfield, he's in the documentary, he says, a lot of people think that a civil war is people shooting at each other. He said, that's how a civil war ends. He said, civil war is when people do not respect the rule of law, right? And I'm not talking about just because someone makes a law, you know this, that we have to follow it. There's the laws of nature, nature's God. There's certain laws that go against because as you and I know, our rights are God-given, not government-given, and the government is to secure those rights. So yes, legislation, laws can be passed, and we say we're not going to follow because they're not in accord with the Constitution, a biblical worldview, or the laws of nature, nature's God. But what we have going on now with many of these states is just the flagrant violation of, parental authority, a biblical right of parents to their children. The things going on are just so, if we're on the other side, right? If it was the right doing something, the left would all say we're insurrectionists, we're J6ers, But reality is the people on the left, whether it's California and these other states, I believe many of them have already declared a civil war. We have the school board in Fairfax County, Virginia, saying we're not going to follow the Department of Justice when it comes to a girl who thinks she's a boy going into the boys' restroom in Fairfax County. That was in Loudoun County. And the parents, the boys were like, we don't want to be in there with that, right? And they're the ones that got charged. Those boys are in trouble and suspended because they simply refused to share a bathroom and locker room with a girl who thinks she's a boy. They got charged with sexual harassment, right? The point I'm making is here you have the DOJ making this ruling under President Trump. And we have the lady in charge of the Fairfax County Schools saying, we don't care. We're going to do it anyway. At what point do you think we are already involved in a civil war with the flagrant following of the rule of law and the Constitution?
Yeah, so I'll just answer this. So, we have a flagrant disregard for the law. We have judges disregarding the law, coming down with judgments that are not within their authority and power. And we have this happening at a record pace. And we have legislators trying to pass things or do things that are in violation of the Constitution. But make no mistake, we at Pacific Justice Institute, we've held the state of California to taken them to task before the Supreme Court and won more than once. We've taken on challenges in other states as well. We have 36 offices coast to coast, 280 cases in active litigation as we speak, like I said. So we stand ready to stand by parents and others whose rights are being violated without charge. And that's the key right here, Brannon, is we have to stand up to it. We have to make our voice heard. And we at Pacific Justice are doing it in the courts and in the legislature. We've got 6 states by our efforts to pass laws saying boys can't go into girls' sports. So there's a pushback. It takes effort. It takes initiative. If people want to know their rights as a parent, by the way, they want to have know their right to opt out their children from hideous things in schools. We have a whole new updated version of that. It's all free on our website, pji.org. And they can also sign up to get our free e-newsletter, which is simply the Legal Insider. And we were here to serve, and we do all our work without charge. So please contact us, let us know. And thank you so much for the opportunity to be interviewed today. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Final question, Brad. Did you ever think in your career, I've known you for 30 years, did you ever think you would see this level of immorality in our country, the thwarting of the rule of law, lawlessness by judges, members of the legislature, elected officials, governors, absolute lawlessness? Did you ever think you'd see this?
No, I didn't. But I also never thought I would see a Supreme Court that we have overturn Roe versus Wade, putting the bureaucrats in check, and a president occupying the White House that is for every American and making this country great, and some of the strongest leadership I've ever seen. Excellent. So we got some ugly things, but when I flip the coin, I'm equally surprised at some really awesome things that I know are going to help us push freedom and liberty farther over the next decade than I think we've ever imagined as well. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, let's pray to that end. PacificJustice.org, PacificJustice.org. Brad, thank you so much for being with us and what you're doing to defend parental authority, religious freedom, God-given rights. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Brannon. Keep up your good work, too. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Take a look at his website again here, guys. There it is. Let me push the button. Is my button not working tonight? There it is. All right, pacificjustice.org. And as you scroll through there tonight, guys, you're going to find that they have a whole segment on this bill. You use the little arrows going across. There it is. Say no to AB495. Folks, this is not just a California issue. We just explained why. I'm a little shocked that this isn't making bigger news among more conservative outlets, but it's really not. It's really not. This is more of a grassroots movement. But of course, that's why we're covering it, because we're more of a grassroots organization and broadcast network. But this should be everywhere. It should be everywhere. But we're bringing it to you tonight because we know you are very concerned about it, as are we. But again, folks, we can't do any of this without your help. WorldviewFoundation.com, WorldviewFoundation.com. Folks, look at all the people we give a platform to. Patrick Wood, Annie Cyrus, Dr. Andy Woods, J.J. Carroll, Rob Lindstead, Tamara Scott, Colonel Rob Manus, Aaron Lavarco out of Israel. I mean, the list goes on and on. All the people we give a platform. You know, we don't charge them anything. You guys know that, right? We don't send them a bill and say, here's your bill, pay your bill for TV production and airtime. No, we don't charge any of them. A lot of networks don't do that. Do you know that? Can I let you in a little secret? Some of the conservative networks you enjoy, I won't name which ones or one, but did you know that I'm told that some of those folks buy their time slots? Yeah, they buy their time slots. We don't ask any of our hosts to buy their time slot because that's not the way we want to run a business. Who's got the best money or the most money? We want good content that's in agreement with our Christian, biblical, constitutional worldview. So we give all of these people a platform and TV production for free to bring you, our viewers, the best programming that you can get to stay informed, to understand the times, and then know how we should respond. And that's what we do. But somewhere along the way, we've got to try to pay for all this. Our bandwidth bill alone is like $8,000, just our bandwidth bill, to push out free programming. We need your support. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Now, with that, I want to share with you right now the keynote presentation by Brad Dacus that he delivered today at the state capitol, Sacramento, California. Listen to this.
Okay, so we are now inviting Brad Dacus from Pacific Justice Institute, who's been fighting with us for years. Give a warm welcome to Brad.
Hi there. Thank you. As many of you know, we at Pacific Justice Institute, we know California pretty well. We've been here for 30 years. Our headquarters office is here in Sacramento. And for a long time, we've been defending religious freedom and parents' rights. Right now, we have 280 cases in active litigation, all without charge, to go to bat for you and the parents in California especially. We also have now, by God's grace, 36 offices coast to coast, so we're keeping busy. But I will tell you this, of all of what we've seen, I have never in my life witnessed such a great attack on parents and parental rights over their children. We at Pacific Justice Institute, we've been in court protecting children who are taken by social workers because of the faith and the conviction of parents. Right over here in Placer County is one example. We've dealt with schools trying to secretly groom children without parents knowing about it. But make no mistake, this legislation, if it becomes law, opens the floodgate to strip away all parental rights at any time to any family, no matter what the reason. It allows a stranger with an affidavit to take children, as was said before. No background check is required. There's no, like foster homes, there's no inspecting the home. In fact, the stranger can take the child and flee the country, or provide the child with all kinds of gender distorting things. This is a nightmare of nightmares. Either one or two things. I was talking to one of the legislators. We agree at one or two things. Either one, this is the epitome of incompetent, unqualified legislative activity, or it's the deepest, darkest, most sinister piece of legislation. I will say this. Public school parents, it's so vague it can apply to public schools, private schools, even homeschoolers. And really what this should be called is the human traffickers, pedophiles, estranged spouse bill, a protection bill. You know, last Sunday I was guest preaching at a Calvary Chapel, Chino Valley. Awesome church. And we saw, it was really exciting what God did at the end of that service too. It was awesome. But we were preaching out of Esther chapter 4. Mordecai and Esther were outnumbered, outgunned. Everything was against them. And yet they stood up because they knew that they could do it, because they knew God was on their side. And because of that, it had a happy ending. Folks, let's be involved. Our children count too much. It is far too much a priority, and I encourage you to get your resources. Go to pji.org to get the resources and get the updates on our cases. We must be involved. We must be engaged for such a time as this.
All right, guys, we'll be right back after this break. Hello, I'm Brannon Howse. Is the government tracking you? Do they have access to all your data? Well, if you go to worldviewtalk.com, you'll find out about a cell phone company that, well, does not store your data. They don't do that. This is what they're known for. They don't store your data. You have privacy. You're not being tracked. That's why a lot of folks are turning to worldviewtalk.com. You'll find their prices are very competitive. All the details are there at worldviewtalk.com. Again, worldviewtalk.com. Oh, while you're there, not only do they have cell phones that aren't tracking you, you can find out about how to get a satellite phone. Should the whole system go down and you want to communicate with a family member or a loved one, you might want to have a satellite phone. Or how about their solar generators? They have great solar generators. Check them all out right now. Worldviewtalk.com, worldviewtalk.com.